Look at that. Alright, so I made a lot of you mad whenever I posted this video of these skirt steak nachos without the recipe. I'm here to redeem myself. We're gonna start with this skirt steak marinade. Let's get started on that. So I've never been big about measuring ingredients, and it's a problem of mine. I'm working on it. In 2022, that's one of my resolutions, is to start writing recipes down. So if you look in the description for this video, you'll see the actual written recipe. We're gonna start off with some salt, some pepper, some cayenne, some paprika, some cumin, chili powder, some oregano. We're gonna add some lime juice, a jalapeno, some garlic, ow, some cilantro, some soy sauce, and some olive oil. We've got our skirt steak. I'm just going to put it in a bag here. Pour our marinade in it. Now you got to really work it in there. Now ideally, let's let this sit overnight. At least give it a couple hours. But the longer you let it sit there, the more flavor it's going to have. The cheese dip might have been the most contentious part about this last video we did. You were all really upset with me that I didn't have the queso recipe. So that's what we're doing here. We're gonna go with some butter. All right, our butter is melted. We're gonna add some flour, equal parts flour. This is gonna help thicken it up. I'm gonna start adding my milk just a little bit at a time. You can tell this is thickening up really quick. I'm gonna add just a little bit more milk. And the amount of milk you use is dictated on how much cheese you have and how thick you want it. Save a little bit of milk at the end. You may want it to be a little bit thinner than what it is, so you can make that decision once you get there. Now we're gonna use white American cheese. This is the way I like to do it. Again, it's not traditional. I wish I could get some Oaxaca cheese where I live, but I can't find it. You could use some Monterey Jacks and Pepper Jack. Those are good alternatives as well, but this is my favorite way to do it. Now we're gonna put these in here and just let them slowly start to melt. We're gonna turn the heat down a little bit. And we're gonna add our seasonings. I'm gonna go in with some garlic powder, some cumin, some cayenne, and some salt and pepper. Also gonna add some lime juice. And then we're gonna add a spoonful of these diced green chilies. This adds a lot of good flavor. Now we're just gonna slowly simmer this until everything's melted and it's the consistency that we want. Last time a lot of you said it was too watery and thin. I just think that's the perfect consistency. You know, if it's too thin for you, add a little bit more cheese and let it melt. If it's too thick, add a little bit more milk. That is perfect for me. All right, you asked for it. Got a homemade chip. Doesn't get any better than this. It's good soup. Okay, so it's nighttime. It is not the ideal setting to be filming a recipe video. But there's not much to this. I'm taking this skirt steak straight out of the bag and straight over these hot coals. As many of you pointed out, yes, last time I did overcook mine a little bit. We're not doing this again. Skirt steak is thin. If you leave it for too long, you will overcook it. All right, it's been a few minutes and let's give it a flip. All right, let's get this thing off of here. All right, we're gonna hit it with a little bit of lime juice to let it rest. For all of those who said I overcooked it last time, I'd say that's pretty much perfect. Alright, we have to take a pause. You may notice that I did something a little bit wrong there. I had a lot of people roast me on TikTok because I didn't slice it against the grain. And yes, this is true. Slicing against the grain is so important, especially for a cut of meat like this where it's really grainy. Failure to do that will make your meat a little bit chewier and it won't hold in as much moisture. However, I typically like to cut skirt steak like this into really small bite-sized pieces for something like tacos or nachos. And if you're doing that, it doesn't really matter which way you slice it because you're slicing it both ways. I decided halfway through this to not slice it so small because I wanted to put half of a skirt steak on this Crunchwrap Supreme. I changed my mind halfway through, slice it against the grain every time. That has so much flavor. It's just so good. So we've shown you how to make the queso, we've shown you how to make the skirt steak. Instead of putting these on nachos, let's make the best Crunchwrap Supreme the world has ever seen. The first thing to do is to take the rest of the skirt steak and cut it up. All right, let's go in with a layer of this cheese at the bottom. It's gonna hold everything in place. Now we're gonna take this skirt steak right in the center. Add a little bit more cheese on top, so that our homemade tostada will stay. Got our homemade tostada. Got a layer of sour cream. Got our tomatoes and some cheese. Now, this is obviously too big for it to fold over on itself, so we're gonna add a little bit more of a tortilla. We're gonna fold it over from there. Let's go in with some butter. All right, let's go in with this side down and really get it pressed down so that it kind of crimps it all and seals it up together. All right, let's give this thing a flip. Hopefully we can do it without tearing it apart. Oh yeah. Isn't that beautiful? I will say that this is the first skirt steak Crunchwrap Supreme I've ever had, but it looks awesome. Let's cut into this thing. This makes me a little bit too happy. Look at that. This is gonna be messy, but it's gonna be worth it. I mean, look at that. This is just unbelievable. Be sure to like this video and please subscribe to us. It helps us out so much. Let us know what you want to see us cook next.